Well, like hurry up and wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's hurry up and wait. So, um, yeah, the scope is completely different. I'm not raising the money, thank God.
So
Yeah.
I have two thoughts slash questions here, and part of it comes from a personal background. Well, and this is another rabbit hole I'd like to get down with you. Is that originally like so when I went to college, I had done some prep work in high school with music theory, and I went to college with the
Oh,
intention
cool.
to do music composition because I wanted to do film scores. And I basically have a minor in music because of the number of music classes I took towards this goal. But then at some point, I think maybe sophomore year, I was like, I have no idea how I could ever make a living, writing film scores. It's so competitive. I'm just starting. Looking back, I'm like, I should have just done it. Like I'm a dummy. But anyway, the question being like, because there is a lot of hurry up and wait, like how how do you make a living? Do you make a living from the film? Like,
No.
you know, yeah, right. So it's like,
No, I pieced
how do you do
together
that and balance, making a living to support yourself?
barely. And I think like I really admire transparency with filmmakers when they talk about this because I always wonder with my friends who are making films what the hell they're doing to
Yeah.
get by. Um, so I actually like I was really inspired. One of my an acquaintances on Facebook last night. She's been posting. She's a producer. She's been posting her hours worked every week, where she'll write hours that I worked that were paid, hours that I worked that I got no money for, and were just for like projects that I'm trying to turn forward
Right.
or that are my own work that I'm not making money for. And
Right.
I think one week she had like 125 hours or something insane. So for me, it's piecing together like a whole bunch of things. I freelance produce some things right now, producing a short film that's shooting next end of next week, the 6th through the 10th.
Okay.
I do a lot of transcribing, which is super boring, but can be very interesting sometimes. But what's
Hmm.
great about that is it's very flexible and I
Hmm.
can do it on my own time and wherever my laptop is.
Right.
So it's mostly like those two things, juggling them back and forth. But yeah, I would love to have this next film be the thing that gets me more into. I'd love to write scripts and get paid for it.
Hmm.
I don't even necessarily have to direct or direct, a TV show and not work for a while. I'm
Hmm.
not quite there yet. But I hope at this next film that it'll be the thing that does it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like day job stuff, really.
Hmm.
Like I've done such random things. I mean, it's been years since I've done this, but I used to like cat sit for
Hmm.
people and um, or what else did I worked in like a theater selling stuff during intermission. God, like random jobs.
Hmm.
It's it's a stressful way to live for sure
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
no certainty about
Yeah.
anything. But like I can pay my rent and I'm fine. It's just like on a day-to-day basis, the way I make money isn't exactly what I love doing the whole
Right.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
But I have a
I
ton of flexibility is the thing. Like I'm able to talk to you right now.
right.
I can kind of shift things around, so it's good.
Yeah. I I kind of wonder, I'm sure you've had this experience of like, well, maybe not, but if I was a betting man, I would bet on this. Have you had like people have the perception that, especially now, because you have, you know, this feature film out, and you're doing this other film, and they're like, oh, you're the successful person, so like now you're making all this money, but then prior to that, obviously there's a lot of back work that gets you to that point where you're not making money from films, and you're not directing films. We have no before you've got a feature length film, people looking at you and going, like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Even though internally you're like I know what I'm doing, but like you have that drive.
Yeah.
You've had that experience where like maybe your family or friends are like, oh, wasted talent. Like she had so much potential. What is she doing?
I think it's less like friends in New York, because here I'm mostly surrounded by people that have the same
Okay.
struggles and are doing the same things. A
Yeah.
lot of family's been interesting for me because I don't think they sometimes know how to talk about what I do,
Yeah.
or they forget. They're like, wait, you haven't shot Ultra yet? Your next feature? You haven't shot it? I'm like, no. They go, well, what's happening? I'm like, well, we're reaching out to actresses. They're like, oh. And then I have to explain. It's just a lot of explaining. And I
Hmm.
can't tell. I think I think everyone's very supportive. There's just a lot of question. I don't know, this undercurrent of like, will she ever make it kind of
Hmm.
thing. Like everyone, the question that there are two questions that annoy me that people don't mean anything by. It's just they
Right.
don't understand anything about filmmaking.
Right.
The first one is when will your film play at Sundance? And then the second question is it on Netflix for me to watch? And achieving those two things are pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So people act like, oh, it's not at Sundance? How is it not at Sundance? I'm like, I don't know. They take 0.001% of the people that submitted.
Right.
And to get on Netflix, like right now, Netflix is in a weird time where they're mostly making their own original content.
Right.
So Netflix isn't that interested in like little me over here with Gold Star,
Right.
despite having like Catherine Curtin plays my mom in it and she's on Stranger Things. Like despite stuff like that, they're not as amenable to pitches from people lately.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's just things like that that I'm like, I think people understand success in filmmaking
Hmm.
in just the very obvious things rather than looking at the film itself and seeing it as a success of like, oh, she did that. Wow. I had one relative actually say to me after she saw Gold Star, you made a real movie. And I'm like, ah, yeah, I did. I'm glad your expectations were so low going into this. I don't know what a fake movie is, but thank you.
Right. Yeah. It's real. Like you said, it's that thing where like they're they're very well intentioned. They're not being malicious. They're just ignorant.
Does that
Like I have
happen with you? Yeah.
Yeah, like I have. So I spent. I'm not anymore, but I spent 8 years post college trying to become a professional triathlete. I don't quite have the physicality to do it, but I mean it basically a 6 to 7 day a week, 52 week out of the year pursuit. So
Yeah.
it is not. I'm not like doing something on the weekend. Like at its height, I was training 15 to 20 hours a week on top of doing all my other work.
Yep.
And I have a niece who I love, and she's of a similar age to me. She's a few years younger than me, but she would always ask me, and I would explain every time. And she meant well. Are you training for a triathlon? Are you doing a triathlon anytime soon? Like, I don't think you understand. This is an all-consuming
This is
project for my entire life. Like, this
life.
isn't
Yeah.
this isn't just I'm gonna do one maybe sometime. No, this is every single day. I wake like this morning, even though I'm not after that anymore. I got up at 6 a.m. to go to the pool, to
Yeah.
swim in the pool for an hour. Then I did strength training after that, and like it's
Do you
just like
get antsy though? Do you plan out like, because I'm in this weird phase right now where I'm looking for like, what's my next move going to be in
uh-huh.
running? Like what race am I going to do? Because for me it helps to look forward towards a goal. Are you okay with just kind of not having anything on the horizon, or how does that mentally work for
No,
you?
I've had a lot of difficulty with that in the past few years. So I basically stopped my pursuit after I had a crash at a 70.3 event where I probably would have qualified if I'd finished. I was having a
Ugh.
phenomenal day, and I was going around a blind corner. A guy passed me on the inside when he shouldn't have. I
Ugh.
hit a patch of gravel and I shattered my collarbone.
Oh my
So
God.
I had to have surgery and I was out for several months. And I had worked my body and my mind so hard that I was just broken. Like
I can't
I
imagine
was just
that.
a
Oh my
shell.
God.
I,
Yeah.
it was like I said, because I went to an I don't know how much you know about like sport divisions at schools, but I went to a school that was originally NAIA, which is it's now a Division II school, but
Mm.
Like, so I was not a Division I runner. I was not top of the class kind of runner, which is who normally becomes a professional, if they try to switch to multisport. So it was a long shot for me from the beginning, but because it was something I was so dedicated to doing because I wanted to do it, it's like we were talking about earlier, the freedom to choose anything. Well, this is the thing that I chose.
Mm-hmm.
And because I put myself through everything my body and mind had to get there, there was just nothing left after that setback. So I've had this period where I've had difficulties trying to figure out what is the next thing because I lived with trying to be better than I was last season for 15, 16, 17 years of my life.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so it's like, what do I do now? I've had trouble with that, but so I still pick out races. I've got my first. I'm getting back more into just like running only races. I'm doing like a St. Patrick's Day run here in a few weeks. So I do pick those out, and that helps.
Mm,
But I still get because there's an aimlessness to it. I'm not trying
yeah.
to qualify for anything. I doubt I'll ever be national champion. Like I'm friends with, and he's been on the podcast, Todd Buckingham, episodes 3 and 29. He has been national champion and world champion as an amateur. I'm just not on, not quite to his level. So it's like I don't have these goals anymore. So I still have that existential dread from
Yeah.
time to time where I have things on the race calendar, but sometimes because I'm working so hard, I'm like, well, why am I doing this? And so I struggle with that and trying to figure out, like I mentioned earlier, do I start over and I go, okay, now let's start working on music composition. Well, that's a daunting task because I've never written anything, and yeah, so I struggle with that. It's definitely not something that comes easily to me.
Yeah. It's tough. Setting a goal versus like, yeah, what I'm grappling with running is because I used to be really goal oriented and I knew I was never doing it for like anywhere near uh, your goals. But I, right when I started, my times were just dropping. Like I was
Mhm.
getting so fast,
Yeah,
so quick. And like to the point where in like New York Roadrunner races, finishing like 10th in my age division, where
yeah.
I had no coach, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can actually do this. And then I was like, oh, I want to keep running further. And now I'm at this weird place where, so I had an injury last summer. I was in a walking boot for a bit and my foot was just messed up. And now I'm like, I just kind of want to do it for the experience and
Mm-hmm.
enjoying it. And I think that's what I like about ultras for me. I just like living in it for a really long time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm still kind of confused about like, well, why exactly am I putting myself through this for so long?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me, yeah, unsure about how hard to train. Or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm in a weird moment right now with running for sure.
Some of that stuff I feel like whether it's running or whatever the discipline is, I have a variety of hobbies, I'll say. I feel like sometimes, and maybe this is a cop out, but it's kind of what I go back to, where it's like whatever the discipline is, it doesn't matter what the discipline is, just pick something. Painting, running, filmmaking, uh, dog training, whatever it is. If you have an interest in it and you kind of dedicate yourself to it and trust the process, there are things that will appear in your life that will possibly seem like chance or luck, but
Mm,
are a direct result of the time that you've spent engaging in this activity.
mm, yeah.
You know, like would you have ever made a film about around ultra running if it's not something you did? You know?
No, I mean, and I hadn't run one until after I started doing it, but I started just reading a lot about ultras and then learned about Badwater and was like, oh my God, that's very cinematic. So yeah, it's just, yeah, my interest in it led me there for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So it's
And
nebulous.
led me to my producers. My producers, I think my initial first person that signed on David Lowery, I think he's a runner also.
Mm-hmm.
So we both were like, oh my God, we would get sidetracked with talking about running for a while. And he already knew about the race the film's based on. So
Yeah.
like that was a huge thing, I think, in getting this team's interest, which I'm really fortunate for.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Or it's like, you made that connection with him based on the subject matter, which is like maybe it goes back to your dad being a runner and that influencing you, and then you kind of getting into it
Yeah, it's
somewhat
all like
reluctantly.
a line coming. Yeah,
Y-
it's crazy how far back it
Yeah.
goes.
There's this analogy I heard once, and I'm gonna butcher it, but it's something along the lines of like you are in a boat on a river, and you have a paddle, so you can paddle that boat. But there is a path that the river takes that you have no control over.
Yeah,
And you
that's how
have the
life
option.
feels.
Yeah, so you have the option to paddle against the current or to try to paddle to the side and hop off. And I feel like in those moments where we're struggling and we don't know what we're doing and we feel just completely lost, it's like you're on the river, you're going around a bend, you're not sure, where you're going, what's around the bend, what's happening, whether it's going to be rapids or whether it's going to be
Mm,
smooth sailing. But ultimately, if you trust the current of the river, which is the current of your life, you know that you will reach your destination because that's simply the path that the river takes.
yeah, that's how life feels to me as I
Yeah.
get older. I'm like, anytime I felt completely overwhelmed, it's because I'm fighting something that I
Yeah.
should kind of just accept.
Yeah. Stop paddling upstream and just like
Yeah,
let the current take you
just
where
go
it's
go
supposed
with
to
it.
take you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though we are both kind of free to make our schedules, I'll try to be mindful of your time as we're kind of running a little on the overside. Um, this season, which is this year basically of this show, I'm asking everybody the same question because just I like to see people's opinions on it. So I'm asking everybody, what do you think the purpose of sport is?
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. The purpose of sport. Wow, to think of one purpose is really difficult. Um, I think it's to prove something to ourselves. That's how I interpret it. Um, whether it's to prove that you can work well with people, to prove that you're capable of doing something you thought was impossible, or to prove even like we are the better team. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be the thing that all the drop downs can come from, to prove, but I think to yourself, like even though sports can be a team thing, I think there's a lot of psychological stuff going on that you have doubts and then you play a game or run a race or have a track meet or something, and it's it's constantly proving, yeah, challenging yourself. Yeah, that's such a good question. What's the purpose for it? Hmm. Yeah, for me specifically within the context of as I explore ultra running, I think I need to do it, and I don't know because I'm sure there's a lot of subconscious stuff going on that I don't even can't even talk about, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been through enough in my life that's made me feel like not a strong person. Like I've had to overcome, and everyone has, but I think I need a concrete way to prove it to myself, to show myself that I am resilient. I need to exercise my own resilience. And for me, ultra running is the ultimate form of that. It's exploring, what am I when I feel like I can't go any further? Who am I? Because it really breaks you down. And then you have to keep facing that over and over and over. Um, yeah, I can't, yeah, it's so, it's so deep for me, really. It's like, who am I?
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Like when I'm alone in the woods and at mile 40 and I have 10 miles left or something, and I haven't yet done a 100 miler. I'd love to, but the furthest I've gone is 51. Um, but yeah, when I feel like I have nothing left and my legs are shot and I'm exhausted, it's how am I going to handle this challenge? What kind of person does that show I am? And I think that's what it is. It's proving to yourself the kind of person you hope to be
Mm-hmm.
in moments of difficulty. It was a very long-winded answer, I feel like, but I
No,
think
it's good. That's good.
I'm finding something. I
That's
hope.
you'll spend hopefully maybe you'll spend more time with it when you're out on your next run thinking about, okay, why am I out here? Which is nice because you have all that time to yourself when you're running. It's like it's just assuming you're not running like in the city and you have the freedom to not worry about traffic, like
Oh, so I hate running here. It's awful.
right, it's a lot of like time with me, time with myself, what's going on with my own thoughts, what are the automatic thoughts that are playing in my head that I didn't even notice, small irritations from the day or joys or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's like things in the subconscious. So, no, I love the answer. It's a great answer. Um, so obviously you have not shot Ultra yet, so I can't quite ask you when it's coming out. Uh,
We're hoping to
but
shoot. We can't shoot in the summer because it'll be too hot in the
yeah,
desert.
yeah.
So we're hoping to shoot fall or winter of late 2020, early 2021, and then the next year. So 2022 probably.
Okay.
These things take forever, and then
Yeah.
we can talk again.
That'll be great. In the meantime, where can people find you? Possibly you watch Gold Star. I think I'm watching it on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon Prime is definitely the best way. And if you watch it, I'd love for you to leave like a little note saying what you thought, because reviews are really helpful for more people to discover it. Yeah, I'm on all social media. I think I'm blocked, not private on all of them. But if you follow me and you seem normal, I will follow you back and accept. But
Okay.
yeah, Twitter, Instagram, all those. I have a mail list you can sign up for on my website, which is just
Okay.
my name at victorianegri.com. And that's a good way to get updates. But yeah,
Sounds
but yeah,
good.
please, everyone watch Gold Star. I haven't seen it in so long. It'd be interesting for me to rewatch. I think it'd be painful for me to rewatch it.
Maybe it's just about just leave it be. Like it is what it is. It's done its thing, and you can maybe revisit it like down the line.
If I didn't act in it, I think I'd be less freaked out. But
Yeah.
it's exhausting looking at yourself a lot.
I
So
think a lot of
yeah,
people feel that way.
everyone watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for spending time with me today, Victoria.
Yeah. Thanks, Jesse. I love the conversation.
Take care.